Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast. We're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
I'm Zach Wright.
And I'm Jordan Smearman. Hello.
And welcome, one and all, to episode 90 of Committed Critics.
Woo!
I can't believe it.
Snap.
We made it this far.
Almost to 100, guys. Look at that.
Almost to 100. What are we going to do for episode 100?
Clip show.
Clip
Ooh.
show. Okay.
No,
Do
absolutely
absolutely zero work whatsoever.
I was
Absolutely
about to say, I'm like, clip show. I was like, I don't think that affects us as much.
I thought you said cook show for a second, and I was like, we are not in the same state anymore.
We can do like a cook show over Zoom, like a little Blue Bake special. Blue
Oh
Bell
my
special.
Oh my God. Jordan has to teach
yes, I am
Ryan
alive.
and Kevin how to bake.
No.
Over Zoom.
No.
I feel like that's worse than giving your parents tech advice over Zoom.
Oh my god.
But anyways, today we're going to talk about a little movie that I had you guys watch called The Farewell, which is a 2019 film directed and written by Lulu Wang, starring Awkwafina. It's a dramedy about this family who puts up a fake wedding so that everyone can see their terminally ill grandmother one last time. It's sad. It makes you laugh. It has so many emotions in it. So what want to go over? What were your guys' general thoughts of the movie?
I'll go
I'll start.
first because first,
No,
I
Ryan,
just
go
want to
ahead.
ask. I just want to ask Kevin, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you
Because
good?
this is the second thing in a row you've chosen something with depressing and sad. and
Second thing
deadly.
in a row. Come on, guys.
I'm
Well,
over here like Kevin.
He's right. I hate to say it, but Ryan's right.
I have different reasons for choosing this than a cry for help. It's fine.
But it's also a cry for help.
It's also a cry for help, like deep down inside. But let's not worry about that. Let's talk about what your thoughts on the movie.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So I watched this. Well, I tried watching it first, and then it's very slow. I will say that, but it's very good. So that was my problem, is I had to turn it off and come back to it when I was refreshed and awake. But it was definitely good. Very depressing, very sad. Kind of gave me a miniature existential crisis, but you know, I will say, like, when I was watching, I was like, at first when I was watching, I was tired. I was like, gosh darn it, there's subtitles. I was like, why foreign films? Why?
I
Mind
told
you,
you guys. I gave you guys the heads up.
He did.
You gave me the heads up. I was assuming it was like, oh, it'll be like half foreign film, half English, and I was like, oh no, this is like 95% foreign film. Okay, I need to pay attention.
Wait,
It's
Ryan,
like-
do you know
It's
there's
like
subtitles?
60% Chinese.
No, I have no problem with subtitles. I have
okay.
no problem with any foreign film. I just was not awake enough to process.
I got you.
was like,
Ryan watches anime. Well, not a lot of anime, but a good chunk of anime he watches subtitled.
Gotcha. Okay,
no,
cool.
I didn't watch it dub. Yeah, I want most of it. I watch dub, but like I watch a good chunk of it subtitles. Yeah, but I have no problem with it. I just was not awake enough to like be like, all right, I'm focusing on this movie and the words and everything going on in it. And I was like, I'll just have to do this when I'm awake. But it was very good. I very much enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm severely sad now, Kevin. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Jesus. For me, it overall was a solid film. I thought it was beautiful and a very creative way to tell the story. The medium of being a film is really does this story very much a justice and presenting both sides of like Western cultures on this ideology versus like Eastern cultures. How this like you have Billy representing like the Western. I was like, no, we need to tell her all that good stuff. And then you have like all of their family like, no, that's not how we should do this. And like watching those mentalities like collide with each other was very fascinating for me. Pacing was a bit slow. However, there were some times I'm just kind of like, okay, I understand. Let's just keep moving. But besides that, the cinematography and performances were great. And just I think the editing could have been used better effectively to affect the pacing just a little bit better.
Okay. How about you, Jordan?
sorry if you guys can hear thumping in the background. That's our cats fighting. But besides
Fight!
that,
Fight!
no, they're sisters.
Even better.
No,
There can only be one.
no, they were emotionally bonded. That's why we adopted two. But no, back to the farewell. I agree with Ryan and Zach. Like, it was long and slow at some parts, but I did enjoy it more than I thought it was going to. However, I won't be watching it anytime soon, though, due to the sadness of it and the realization I had at the very end, which I will get more into later.
Yeah, fair enough. So the reason why I picked this film is kind of help help Zach and Jordan kind of like get used to watching movies and media in foreign languages. I felt like this film was a way to help transition audiences who are used to watching American mainstream movies to like understand what foreign films have to offer. Mostly because of how, like, as Zach pointed out, there's the culture clash of the East and the West in this story, but it is also about a very human story about, you know, a family trying to come to terms with a grandmother who may be dying soon due to cancer, just something completely outside of their control. And then it's kind of so like it's the human experience of like trying to control a situation that you don't have control over. And just the different moral perspectives that it creates based on the cultural differences. It is also partly in English, but it also is mostly in Mandarin. But I do think it just really gives a great entryway perspective of what non-English films can provide as opposed to the American mainstream.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
On that note, what is one thing that we liked about The Farewell?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I really liked the acting. Like, I've seen Awkwafina in a few different films, but I have never seen her in a more serious role. Like, so it was really cool to kind of see her range and see almost kind of like when Adam Sandler did Uncut Gems, right? Like, he's known for his comedy, and then you see him in Uncut Gems, and you're like, wow, he actually has more range than I thought.
Don't forget the cobbler.
A classic.
So it was cool to see Awkwafina in a more serious role. And honestly, like, I truly believed they were all family, which is why kind of the ending or a scene in the specific ending, a specific scene in the ending, sorry, kind of hit me so hard because I could see my own family in a sense with that. So it was, I really did enjoy everyone's performance with it. Especially the grandmas. I loved her.
She was great.
Nine Eye Cinematic Universe. Where is it? Who wants to go next?
For me, like I said, I agree with Jordan. The performances, they did a phenomenal job of evoking that emotional response for the content of the story. Just like seeing everyone, like they put in work for their characters. Awkwafina did great. The grandma character, amazing. I wish I knew her name. All of it was fantastic to watch, and also I enjoyed the camera work and cinematography. Every shot is very beautiful to look at. It's composed in a way that makes it look like very like satisfying look on screen. And also the lighting is also done really well in conjunction with the cinematography.
All right, how about you, Ryan?
I also echo Jordan on the whole Awkwafina being good because again, I haven't seen her in anything outside of a comedy. And I think the last thing I saw her in was Shang-Chi, and I know she's going to be in some movie that's coming out soon. I can't remember what it is, but I was actually impressed with it. Although I do have to ask, does she have some kind of like muscular disorder or something, or
with her posture?
Yes, because that just kept throwing me off. I was like, is this like how she actually stands? Is this like her thing, or is this like a character trait? Because I'm just trying to figure out like why is she slouching? Like she literally looks like her head is sticking completely out her spine, like she's at a curve the entire movie.
And
I
don't have an answer for that one.
It was just throwing me off the entire time. And then when she did her little run to the hospital, I was very much like, okay, maybe she does have like a muscular thing going on. I don't know, or maybe it's part of the character. I don't know. I did like the ideas of the struggle of wanting to take on the emotional burden of knowing someone is going to die versus telling them their days are numbered. I have mixed feelings about how that was handled, but then I feel that's the point of this movie is to like give Americans a different perspective on how cultures deal with healthcare and family. Because you know, I like they explain like in America it's illegal to like basically just straight up like, hey, you're not gonna tell your medical prognosis or we're gonna lie about it because, you know, yada yada yada. And I get like at the whole time I was watching the movie I was like angry at the family because I'm like, why won't you just tell her that she is dying? Like, why don't you just let her know? But at the same time I get it because it's like, okay, you don't want to tell someone that, hey, you're dying, and then that's the only thing they can think about is like, okay, how do I spend the last few moments I have with everyone, like without worrying or breaking down or like, you know, getting upset because you're just realizing I'm about to die.
Right. Yeah, there's the that sense of like mind over matter where like if you believe that you are going to die, then you kind of like might give up. It makes it more likely like they kind of like devolves a chance to succeed. As opposed to not being aware of it and just going about your life, and then you have a higher chance of overcoming your issues. That's typically kind of the perspective of it.
Yeah. And I like that she apparently lived.
Yes.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. So one thing I liked about this movie, well, actually, there's two things I like. My favorite scene of the movie is the scene where like they are looking for the earring for the bride. And that scene transitions into Billy telling her mom that she wants to stay in China, look after her grandmother. Like the reason why it's my favorite scene is because I feel like it's the thesis of the entire story, just masterfully woven in a single scene with only 2 camera angles that it just kind of cuts back and forth from. And it gets me every time. And I think it's like also like the way it's directed, like how you have the extended family in the background just watching the scene unfold, and also like the multicolored balloons kind of like showing like the 2 different sides, like kind of like they're next to each other but like not merged with each other. If that makes sense. I just absolutely love it. The performance is also great too, which, you know, going to my second point, big fan of Awkwafina's performance here, which she won a Golden Globe for. As she really makes Billy a grounded character that you can empathize with even when she's not speaking. It makes me sad that like she's always typecasted for comedy roles, because I would love to see her in more dramatic roles such as this.
I did some research. Apparently, that's just Awkwafina's posture.
Oh, it's just her posture.
Yeah, that's how her posture's been since she was a kid.
Since she was little?
This is why your parents always tell you to sit up straight. Don't slouch.
I was like, she needs to go see a chiropractor. I'm just like, jeez.
Should always listen to your parents, kids.
Don't slouch.
Don't slouch.
Hang on, I'm sorry. Breaking news.
Yes.
28 seconds ago, new trailer for Across the Spider-Verse on this Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, that's all I saw.
Okay. Well, good to know that you're going online instead of paying attention to the episode. That's all I gotta say.
Wow,
Ooh,
Zach.
Zach, called yourself out
It's
here.
like I have multiple tabs open.
It's almost as if you might have an attention issue.
Correct.
But that's something we will talk about another time, because right now we're going to go on a break.
Hey everybody, my name is Jordan, and you've probably heard me on an episode or two, but did you know I also have a baking channel? Bluebell Bake is by the amateur baker for the amateur baker. On the channel, I'll be posting recipes, tips and tricks, and more so we can all learn to better our baking skills. You can find my channel on YouTube at Bluebell Bake, we're currently posting monthly, or on Instagram and TikTok, both at bluebell.bake. Come join our little community where no matter what happens, we keep on baking.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And welcome back to Committed Critics as we continue to talk about The Farewell. Now we're going to be a little bit negative and nitpicky because we're critics. What's one thing that we didn't like or doesn't quite hold up? Anyone want to start off first? All right.
I think I'm gonna speak for all three, me, Jordan, Ryan, when I say the pacing. Yeah, it's a slower movie. It's a drama. It's gonna take time. It needs to breathe. But I still feel as though you could have shaved like 5 to 10 minutes off and would have done a lot of justice for the entirety of the narrative. There were some shots that were left hanging. There were a lot of shots that were left hanging for a little too long that you could tidy up a little bit. A lot of long takes, which I understand, but the long takes just kind of kept going. I'm like, okay, I understand the point of the shot. It's already happened. We need to move on to the next thing. Not as a like go, go, go kind of thing, as a we need to keep the emotion moving along through the narrative. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Look at this guy saying he needs to shave off 10 minutes of this movie. He's joining the every movie should be 90 minutes club.
Fuck yeah, they should. In and out, baby.
Oh man, that's a discussion for another time. Who wants to go next?
Kevin, it's not a discussion. It's a statement, and you're wrong.
Wow. Alrighty then.
Period.
Okay.
Point blank. Done. That's the conversation.
I cannot wait to show you Parasite. And I want you to, when you watch Parasite, I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me that movie should be 90 minutes.
I still will. I'll find something.
I think episode 100 should just be us in like sumo suits fighting each other.
For 90 minutes.
For 90 minutes.
90 minutes, exactly.
90 minutes.
Who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go. I'll follow up on saying like, yeah, some of those long cuts or like just shots that held for no reason. Like there was a scene like where they're like doing like the drums or whatever, and then they just pack up the drums and leave, and there's you still hear like noise like off like camera, but it's just showing me an empty like place where the drummers were at, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on, guys? Like, why are we doing this?
Ryan, to agree with you on a shot, there's a shot where it's the pullout, I believe, of like the apartment complex when Billy
when
gets to
Billy
China.
first gets there.
And it's pulling out of the apartment complex. And it's taking for fucking ever to pull out. I'm like, I get it. I know we're at. We're in China. We can move on from this shot.
It's like, yeah, it's that. And then also there's scenes where the shots are like off angle for some reason. I don't know, like sometimes there's too much headroom or there's
somewhere off axis, yeah.
Or like, yeah, they're like just showing like them in the corner. And it's like, why do we have this big empty room right now? And we're just showing this tiny little corner right here.
It shows how empty they feel on the inside, Ryan. With this loss. Actually,
it's a little bit different. Usually, like stuff like that, like especially like the fact that there's too much headroom, usually are symbolized to show how little control or space the characters actually take up in the world. Like this, like, you know, as I was mentioned earlier, this is a situation where like they have no control over the grandmother's diagnosis, but they are still trying to control the situation in their own way. But it's a visual representation of how little control they actually have in the world.
I guess it just looks weird.
It's jarring, but however, if it lingers too long, you can move on. That is understood once you see that kind of shot.
Yeah, basically the way I explained this entire movie is I saw it in something earlier this week. I can't remember where, but it said like an hour and a half long movie can feel like 4 hours when the pacing feels off, and that's what this definitely felt like. Like compared, because I don't know, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, how much time is left in this movie? Because I feel like I've been watching it for 2 hours, and I'm like, it's only been 30 minutes. I'm like, what?
It's
how
exactly
does the
2
first
hours,
30 minutes
right?
feel like 2 hours? No, it's 100 minutes, 140 minutes.
Is it?
No, yeah,
No,
not 1
it's-
hour, 40 minutes.
Oh, sorry. I think it's at 140 minutes. I'm like, Kevin, that's
No,
2
you
hours
did, yeah.
and 10 minutes. I'm like, hang on, wait a second here.
No, an hour and 40 minutes. 100
It's
minutes.
an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour
Yeah.
and 40 minutes, but it does not feel like that. Like I literally sat here and I was like, after 30 minutes, I was like, I have to be like, you know, halfway through with this movie at this point. And it's like, no, you're not technically. But I was just, I don't know. It just feels very slow. And then
I'm
also
gonna-
there were
Go
just
ahead.
some scenes where they just go like, like the bowing scene where we do it like 10 times, or like we just hold on like to doing the same thing over and over, and I'm like, guys, let's move it.
I'm gonna pull my film bro card out for a
Oh,
little bit
no.
here and say that stuff like in movies like this where like has a more atmospheric sensation to it, I think is better watched in the theater than at home. To really like, so that way like the sound design, the large screen, and like just the comfort of like the experience of like sitting in a seat and putting your mind on the movie would kind of help make you more immersed in the movie itself.
You know what? I'll agree with that. The more I think about it, like if I was sitting in a theater, I think I would have left like, wow, that was pretty quick. We're in and out. Only an hour 40. But then sitting on my couch for an hour 40, I'm like, man, I've been sitting on my couch for an hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even just noticed it, like the difference of how I pay attention to movie versus when I stream it as opposed to putting a Blu-ray in. Because if I stream it, I'm just clicking a button, say, all right, here's the movie, click the button, then it's like, it just goes on. At least when I put a Blu-ray in, it's like, I've taken the time to look at my shelf, pick out the DVD, put it in the disc player, all that jazz. But like during that time, I'm getting into the mindset of watching a movie as opposed to just turning on Netflix and then picking
Kevin
whatever
has
is interesting.
30 minutes of foreplay with his Blu-ray before he decides to pick which one.
No, but I mean, like, it's like, it's just something I've noticed in the past couple of years. And then especially going back to theaters, like when I go to a theater, I'm buying a ticket, getting popcorn,
Yeah,
I sit
it's the ambience. I agree.
Mhm.
Ooh, popcorn.
But yeah, that's my film bro
But also,
stance
I
on this,
agree
on your
because like
opinions.
when you're in your living room, right? You have your phone next to you. You can pull your phone out. You can go get a snack.
So many distractions.
So many distractions. When you're in theater, you are in the theater. You can't do a goddamn thing else. Because I'll be damned if I'm gonna pull my phone out of a theater like a goddamn heathen. All right.
Kevin, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you think the bird symbolized? Because I was very confused by this.
I don't have an answer.
Oh, what kind
Yeah.
of film bro are you? No.
A film bro would come up with an answer that doesn't make sense. It
That's
would
what
never
film
admit
bros
defeat.
are.
I'm putting my film bro card away. I'm willing to acknowledge there are things that I don't know. No, I don't have an answer for like the symbolism of the bird. Like I couldn't even give you my best guess.
Okay.
Oh, like the little canary that follows Billy around.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, like a bird that comes into her window.
Yeah, because then it
Um,
shows up in New York, it shows up in China, and then the birds fly out of the tree at the end.
Right. It's actually, now that you kind of laid it out like that, here's my best guess. It is symbolizing Billy not willing to let go of her emotions until the very end, which is, when she shouts, that's how, when the birds leave, that's kind of like her releasing her feelings out into the world instead of bottling them up.
Yeah, I can
Hang
see
on,
that.
my furnace just turned on, so keep talking.
You're good. I'm pulling just random websites at this point. This one was like a magical sign for like to call her back to China, which I think is kind of lame.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the intentional reading of the symbolism of the bird, but
I mean, there's 100 different ways you could read the birds. There's one I literally just Googled. I said what the birds in the farewell mean, and one's like an intangible familial bond that extends across cultures, even across continents. Like the birds are there when she goes to America, or when she's in America, and then when she goes
interesting.
to China.
I could see that.
it's open for interpretation, but it doesn't like take up so much space of the movie that I think hinders it if you don't understand it.
It's whatever you want the birds to mean, Jordan.
That was so dramatic. The way
I
you
know.
just did
I
that.
put my hand on her like leg. I was like, turned to look at her dead in the eye and said,
Your hands are so warm right now.
Do the Miles Morales, hey.
Oh my god.
"Hey."
We're already engaged. It's fine.
But yeah, so Jordan, was there more notes you wanted to go over for what you didn't care for too much?
Okay, going back to if you're okay or not. Like, just bring up emotional trauma. So I did cry at the end. I cried at the end when Billy said goodbye to her grandma when the taxi
Dude,
car was
I
driving
turned to the
away.
left. I was like, that was pretty good. Oh, shit.
Because the reason why their performances hit so close to home for me was that when my grandma passed in December of 2021,
Ooh, that was recent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a little over a year. I did not get to say goodbye to her.
Mhm.
So here I am watching Billy be able to get to say goodbye to her grandma. And well, it was a beautiful moment, and I'm glad she was able to as the character. I immediately started feeling like a piece of garbage because I did not get the chance to do that.
Oof.
And I just kind of started questioning my life choices. So thank you for that, Kevin.
You're welcome. If I knew about this, I would not have chosen this movie.
It's
Oh, it's
okay.
fine. Jordan didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I think our 100th episode is just gonna be therapy for all four of us.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh.
No,
But
it's,
no, I am.
It's
I
okay.
am
Like
fine.
I'm glad you suggested because I was one of those movies that like I wanted to watch. I just never kind of got around to it. I just in light of recent things, I'm just like, oh, yeah, that
It just
happened.
it kind of hits you.
Yeah, it hit a little too close to home.
It turned into a movie Jordan needed to watch.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then kind of like to kind of wrap out the negative portion of our show. Outside of thinking it could end one shot earlier, where I think it would end better if it goes on the cuts off from the close up of Billy shouting as opposed to cutting to black from the shot of the birds leaving the tree. I don't have much to critique about this movie because I personally enjoy the slower atmospheric pacing. And I think it does a great job of accomplishing its thematic goals and making them accessible to the general audience.
Mhm.
Kind of like what we talked about. Like, I don't think cutting the movie down would help. The movie would not feel the same. I think it would just detract a lot from the emotional immersion of the film itself. But again, we already discussed about like the difference of like watching at home as opposed to like potentially watching it in theater and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, what's the phrase? Your mileage your mileage will vary, I
Yeah.
think, depending on how immersed you're willing to be into this movie and this world.
So do what Kevin does. Take 30 minutes to select it from your library.
Take
Dim-
30
dim
minutes
the lights.
exactly.
Pop some popcorn.
Pop some popcorn, dim the lights, pick some little tea, get a nice little soft blankie, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, kick your feet up on
Exactly.
your couch, and then turn on your PS2.
On your PS2.
On the PS2.
Hey man, PS2s are like rated as like one of the best DVD players because of how
I know,
good
I'm
the,
just giving you shit because
dynamic
you've referenced
range is.
PS2 before.
Yeah, no. Now I have a Blu-ray player, a region-free Blu-ray player. So
Fuck yeah,
Oh,
let's go,
snap.
boy.
I need to
He's
get a 4K
upgraded.
TV though, one of these days. So on that note, what are some of your final thoughts on The Farewell?
Great film, tugs on the heartstrings. Just wish it tugged a little quicker.
Mm.
Like I said at the beginning, it was good, but I won't be watching it anytime soon. I can't put myself through that again.
Not again.
I surprisingly enjoyed this when I got to the end of the movie. It definitely helps watching when you're more awake. Would I recommend it to others? Absolutely. Will I watch it again in the near future if I have a reason to? Will I acknowledge the existential crisis it gave me? Sorry, I have to go to a wedding now. Goodbye.
Bye, Ryan. For me, my final thought is this is one of the best A24 movies. It is also an A24 movie that most A24 fans don't even watch or recognize as an A24 movie. So on that note, Jordan's brother probably hates it, or if he even bothered to watch it.
I assure you,
That's,
he's probably never
there's
watched
no shot.
it. I don't even think he's
there's
seen everything
no
ever all
shot.
at
Like if
once.
his favorite movie is Uncut Gems, there's no shot he's seen this movie
His-
or even like
okay,
wants
his
to watch
top 3 favorite movies are probably Uncut Gems, Drive,
And Hereditary.
and
Oh
I don't know
my
about Hereditary.
God.
Maybe
it. Oh my god, he's
I
a
have not
red
it used to be
flag.
Dazed and Confused, so I don't know about the third one.
He's a red flag walking.
In the film bro
Jeez.
world.
Alex, if
Yeah.
you ever listen to this, I still love you. Just maybe not your film picks.
If you like Drive, you suck.
Uh,
Anyways, Ryan, what's our next challenge?
All right, next challenge. I'm assuming Zach and Jordan haven't watched both of these, or at least like haven't watched it all the way through. Given on the intel I was given by a friend of ours, So I'm going to put out 2 movies, Tron and Tron Legacy.
Ooh, double.
Because
Hi, Hannah.
Wow. Hi, Hannah.
I heard someone hadn't watched the movie, and so I was like, well,
Can we do?
I haven't
we're
seen the
doing
first
both?
one. Yeah, we're doing both. We're doing Tron
Oh.
and Tron Legacy.
Okay.
Double
So
feature.
a double feature.
Pop that
I
I will
figured-
say the first Tron movie is a pretty slow. It's pretty dry, but it's at the end of the day, it's still kind of fun. Tron Legacy,
It's
that
Daft
movie
Punk.
fucks. That movie
Yeah,
fucks.
Tron Legacy fucks. I've seen Tron Legacy.
I've seen it. I just don't remember it. So this is fine.
Yeah. I was like, I've seen Tron Legacy. I've played it in Kingdom Hearts, but I was like, let me just put it out there again. I need to watch the first Tron anyway.
I'm
This
kidding
is,
myself. I never bought the Lego set for Tron Legacy.
Oh yeah, no, same here. This is when I can flex that like how good I am at the Tron arcade game.
Jesus Christ.
I can
Take
do
us
a
out,
life cycle
Kevin.
game. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to hear the rest of our thoughts about other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon. It's linked right below in the description. Man, you can follow us on Twitter at Committed Critics, that's COMMITTEDCRITS, YouTube Committed Critics, TikTok at Committed Critics, and special thanks to our current patrons: Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kowalkowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, Jody Wright, Devin Vonderhyde, and Brandon Morales. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.